Welcome back to the English Learning Podcast, Series 1. I'm Kirsty.
And I'm Sam. It's so great to have you all joining us today.
Yeah, we're really excited for this episode because, we're diving into a topic that's, I think, super relatable and quite refreshing.
That's right. We're talking all about swimming today. Not just the sport itself, but also how it fits into our lives, as a hobby, for fitness, and even just for fun.
Exactly. Our goal, as always, is to help you build your everyday English vocabulary and expressions, especially for those casual conversations. So whether you love being in the water or you're, just starting out, you'll pick up some really useful phrases.
Yeah, we'll cover everything from learning to swim as a child to talking about pool rules and even some safety tips. It's gonna be a splash.
A splash indeed, Sam. So stick around, grab your metaphorical goggles, and let's get started.
So Kirsty, since we're talking about swimming today, do you remember when you learned to swim? Were you one of those kids who just jumped in and naturally floated?
Oh, definitely not that second one. I mean, I did learn when I was a child, quite young actually, around 5 or 6. My parents, they really wanted us to be comfortable in the water, especially because we spent a lot of time near lakes and the sea in the summer.
Oh, that makes sense. So was it formal lessons or more just your parents teaching you?
It was a bit of both, actually. I had some lessons at our local pool, just the basic stuff, getting used to putting my face in the water and, kicking. But then a lot of it was just splashing around with my dad in the shallow end, trying to keep up with my older brother.
Ah, the classic older sibling motivation.
Exactly. How about you, Sam? Were you a natural or was it more of a gradual process?
I actually learned pretty early too. I think I was 4 or 5. My grandma used to take me to this old public pool every Saturday. And honestly, I don't remember learning specific strokes at first. It was just getting comfortable, blowing bubbles, and then slowly, paddling.
So you were pretty fearless then, just dove right in?
I think so. I mean, I don't remember being afraid of deep water at all as a kid, which is funny because now, as an adult, I'm sometimes how deep is that? But no, I wouldn't say I was ever a strong swimmer from the get-go. More of a very enthusiastic, splashing around kind of swimmer.
I can picture that. So it sounds like for both of us, it was a pretty early start.
Yeah, definitely. I think that early exposure really helps. Just building that initial comfort in the water is a game changer, I feel. It's very crucial. So, moving on from our childhood splashes, Kirsty, how does swimming fit into your life now? Is it still a regular thing for you or more of a, occasional dip?
That's a great question, Sam. I actually try to go swimming once a week if I can, sometimes twice, depending on my schedule. It's definitely more of a fitness routine for me now, but I still love being in the water, which helps. It's not just about the exercise, if that makes sense.
Oh, completely. I get that. For me, it's a bit more sporadic these days. I mean, I love it, don't get me wrong, but I don't go as often as I probably should. Maybe once a month if I'm lucky. It used to be a regular hobby when I was younger, but now it's kind of slipped a bit. I mostly go to the local gym pool, when I need to clear my head.
Yeah, I find it's really good for that too. I mean, aside from being obviously good exercise, it's also just really meditative, isn't it? No phone, just the sound of the water.
Exactly. And for me, I actually prefer swimming to running, for example. My knees just thank me after a swim, whereas after a run, it's a different story.
Oh, I'm with you there. Definitely. I mean, swimming is great for your health, right? It's a full body workout without all the impact on your joints. My doctor actually told me it's one of the best forms of exercise, especially for, overall cardiovascular health. It's so efficient. You use so many different muscles without even really thinking about it. And it's like surprisingly exhausting in a good way.
Totally. It's like you don't feel super sweaty or anything because you're in the water, but then you get out and you're like, wow, I actually did a lot of work. So do you ever enjoy swimming laps, or are you more of a just splash around kind of person still?
Oh, I definitely enjoy swimming laps now. I mean, that's my main goal when I go to the pool. I'll usually do, a certain number of lengths, try to keep a consistent pace. It feels good to challenge myself a little bit. It's great for your lungs too, I've noticed.
Oh, for sure. The breathing control is a whole other aspect, isn't it? It really works your lung capacity. I sometimes feel like I can breathe better throughout the day after a good swim.
Yeah, that's so true. It's just a great all-around activity. Plus, it's refreshing, especially after a long day.
I completely agree with you, Kirsty.
So, speaking of the pool, I was actually wondering, do you know what the pool hours are for this place today? I'm not super familiar with this specific local pool, to be honest.
Let me think. I think they're open until like 7 this evening. Yeah, I checked it on their website actually. Pretty sure it's 7, so we have plenty of time.
Oh, good. That's a relief. Sometimes I just worry about getting here and then realizing it's closing soon. Always a bit of a panic.
Totally. And, speaking of pools, have you ever really gone through the rules for this place? I always try to do, but sometimes it feels like a lot to remember. Like no running on the deck, obviously, but then there's the deeper stuff.
Oh, yeah, the rules. I mean, I usually just assume, the standard ones. No diving in the shallow end, no pushing people in. But I guess different pools can have their own, specific quirks, right? Like, some places are really strict about swim caps.
Exactly. And that reminds me, did you remember your swim cap and your goggles? I almost forgot my goggles today. Nearly had to buy a new pair from the vending machine. That would have been annoying.
Oh, I always have my swimsuit and a towel packed and my goggles, of course. But the swim cap, sometimes I forget. I mean, my hair gets so wet and heavy without it, but then, it feels a bit tight? What about you? Are you a swim cap person?
I usually am actually, especially if I'm doing laps. It just keeps my hair out of my face, which is a lifesaver. And it does, I don't know, it just feels more streamlined, doesn't it?
It really does. I should probably get better at remembering mine. And I always make sure to bring a good soft towel. There's nothing worse than a tiny, scratchy towel after a swim.
You're so right. It's the little things. Do you usually just swim at pools, or do you ever venture out to the beach or a lake? I know we talked about learning in the ocean, but what about now?
Oh, definitely. I mean, I usually swim at the local pool for convenience, but there's something really special about being in open water. I've been to the beach a few times this summer, and I just love swimming in the sea. It's so expansive.
Yeah, that's a completely different experience. I haven't been swimming in a lake in ages, but I remember it felt a bit different from the ocean. Less salty, obviously, but also sometimes a bit murky. You can't always see the bottom.
Yeah, that's true. It can be a little, unnerving sometimes. But the feeling of being totally immersed in nature is just unbeatable, I think. Even if you have to change into your swimsuit in a cramped, sandy changing room at the beach. Still worth it.
Yeah, those changing rooms, always an experience in themselves. But you're right, the payoff is worth it.
Yeah, those changing rooms really can be something sometimes.
So when you're in the water, Kirsty, what's your go-to? What's your main swimming style? Are you a freestyle fan, or do you mix it up with other strokes?
Oh, definitely freestyle, or, the front crawl, as they say. That's what I pretty much stick to. It just feels the most natural to me, the most efficient way to just swim and get across the pool.
Yeah, I get that. The front crawl is it's definitely the most common, isn't it? I mean, I mostly do front crawl too, but I've been trying to, sort of broaden my horizons a bit. I sometimes try backstroke, but it's a completely different feeling.
Oh, backstroke. See, I find that so challenging because you can't see where you're going. I always feel like I'm gonna like crash into the wall or, another swimmer. How do you manage that?
Right, right. Dorsal flotation. I guess it all starts with getting comfortable just floating on your back. I remember doing a lot of that when I was first learning, just trying to relax and let the water support me. It's surprisingly hard to just let go.
It really is. It's a core skill, actually. And then once you master that, you can like add the leg kick and the arm movements. I also dabble a bit in breaststroke. That's another one where you can like actually see where you're going, which is a plus for sure.
Yeah, breaststroke feels a bit more elegant somehow, like a glide. I haven't really properly learned the technique for breaststroke beyond like basic paddling, but I've seen people do it and it looks really powerful. What about like diving? Kirsty, did you ever like learn to dive properly? Off a diving board, I mean.
I did. I learned when I was younger, and it was actually quite scary at first, like just standing up there looking down. But once you dive in, it's exhilarating. It's all about really getting that streamlined body position like we talked about earlier with reducing resistance.
That makes sense. I've only ever done like a basic feet first jump. The idea of like head first diving, it just feels a bit intimidating even now. I guess it's all about building confidence, right?
Absolutely. And knowing how to like manage your body in the water, whether you're swimming laps, just floating around, or taking a dive, it all builds on those fundamentals. Speaking of fundamentals and confidence, I think it brings us really nicely to like the importance of swimming lessons, right? For safety especially. I mean, you can't just jump in without knowing the basics.
Exactly. It's so crucial. I mean, for kids, it's like almost a given that they'll take lessons, but I think for adults too. I know a few people who are like actually learning how to swim as adults, and it's a huge step for them, especially if they're, afraid of deep water.
Yeah, that fear of deep water is a real thing, isn't it? It can be a huge barrier. The FINA manual actually talks about the process of adaptation and how, if you're afraid, learning is much more complicated. But it emphasizes gradually getting used to the water step by step.
Oh, definitely. I remember when I was younger, I had like a moment where I felt a bit overwhelmed in the deep end, and it really stuck with me. But having a good instructor and, knowing there were always like safety measures in place really helped.
And that's where lifeguards come in, right? They're essential. It's not just about, rescuing people, but their presence just makes everyone feel safer, doesn't it? The National Curriculum Training Program actually states there's a statutory requirement for a lifeguard to be available whenever a school swimming lesson takes place.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that makes total sense. It's not just like a nice to have. It's a must. And those safety rules, too, like not running on the pool side or remembering the SAFE code for open water, like spot the dangers, take safety advice, always go with a friend, and learn how to help in an emergency.
Right. Exactly. All those little things. For adults, when they're learning how to swim, it's often about unlearning bad habits or just like getting comfortable with their face in the water, that whole aquatic breathing thing we talked about earlier.
Yeah, the breathing, that was always my biggest hurdle. Even as a kid, trying to like coordinate exhaling underwater and then quickly turning to inhale, it feels so unnatural at first.
It really does. But once you get it, it clicks. And for those afraid of deep water, lessons are great because they often start in shallower sections and gradually introduce deeper areas as confidence builds. It's a progressive approach, which is key.
For sure. I think it's easy to forget how much goes into like feeling truly safe and confident in the water. It's not just about being able to swim a certain distance, but really understanding the environment and your own capabilities.
Absolutely. It's about empowering people, isn't it, to overcome those fears and, enjoy swimming for life, whether it's in a pool or somewhere a bit more adventurous.
Speaking of overcoming fears and just building confidence. Do you have any funny or maybe slightly embarrassing swimming stories from when you were like a kid or even more recently?
Oh, absolutely. I have one that, well, it still makes me cringe a little bit, but it's pretty funny in hindsight.
Do tell. I'm ready.
Okay, so this was back when I was probably around 7 or 8. I was at the local pool, and I was just starting to feel really confident, like I thought I was a proper strong swimmer.
The invincible phase. I know it well.
Exactly. So there was this sort of a small diving board, just a low one, but to me it was like the Olympics. And I decided I was going to do this amazing dive. I was going to impress everyone.
Oh no, I can see where this is going.
So I stood on the edge, puffed out my chest, took a deep breath, and I jumped. But instead of, going in head first or even like a graceful feet first entry, I just completely, belly flopped.
A classic.
It was loud, Sam, so loud. The entire pool went silent for a second, and then, of course, all the other kids started laughing, and my face, it was absolutely bright red. It stung, too, obviously.
Oh, I can only imagine. I bet it felt like you hit concrete.
It did. And the worst part was I was so embarrassed. I just scrambled out of the pool as fast as I could and pretended to be really interested in my towel for the rest of the day. I didn't even try another dive for months.
They really do. It taught me a valuable lesson about hubris, I guess, and also about practicing new skills safely before performing them for an audience.
For sure. Mine wasn't quite as dramatic, but I remember one time I was trying to learn the backstroke, and I just could not keep a straight line. I kept veering off into other lanes.
Oh, that's relatable.
Yeah, I'd bump into the lane ropes or almost collide with someone. My instructor would be yelling, "Kirsty, straighten up," but I just couldn't feel it. I think I ended up doing circles more than actual links. It was pretty embarrassing.
It really is. I mean, you just feel so disoriented and you're just hoping you don't crash into the wall. So, yeah, it definitely took some time to get that coordination down and a lot of patience from my teacher, I'm sure.
Sounds like you both learned a lot from your splashy mishaps. And that wraps up today's episode here on the English Learning Podcast Hub. We hope you found it helpful and maybe even a little fun. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to leave a like, comment below, and hit subscribe so you don't miss future episodes. We've got more useful topics coming up. The next episode is all about the social topic of greetings and introductions. Until then, take care, keep learning, and we'll talk to you again very soon. Bye for now.